What's good, people? Welcome back to another video on 8 Count. In today's video, we are going to be discussing Undisputed. As last week, Steel City Interactive dropped the latest patch for the game. We're going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly. Should you spend your time playing this game? Should you maybe look at purchasing the game? We're going to go over all of that. As always, guys, if you do enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts and feelings sort of surrounding the current state of Undisputed. Let's take a look at the patch notes. So in terms of this update, it was a content update. We got new fighters, new venues, as well as new gameplay mechanics, and I guess new game tunings, I guess you could say. The three fighters we got were Riddick Bowe, Cole Frampton, and Yu Chan. In terms of the three fighters, I thought they were all fairly sort of interesting in their own right. I'd say Riddick Bowe is the pick of the bunch. He's definitely probably one of the more rewarding fighters to use in the game. Definitely has a unique feel to him, and he definitely feels dangerous when you get your hands on him inside of the game. In terms of the venues, we got I think it's called the C7 hangar. Yes, it is. And Falcon Bay. In terms of the C7 hangar, I'm a fan of that one. It's a unique venue, and I wasn't kind of sure what venues we were going to be getting with the game, and they've definitely gone down an interesting sort of route with it. Falcon Bay, I'm not as big as a fan of. I'm not a big fan of these outside venues set in daylight. For me, I just find it kind of, it takes my focus away from the fight in general. So I prefer the nighttime venues, either inside or outside. So that's what I'll say on terms of the venues. But the biggest sort of things which came with this patch were the gameplay changes. These were the things I was most interested in. And the big one which kind of came was the diagonal dodge. It's a new gameplay mechanic. It's kind of like a sort of pivot where you can go to either side. It's especially like really good at getting to the inside of your opponent. If your opponent's using someone long like Tyson Fury and you're using maybe a shorter heavyweight like Joe Frazier, it's definitely a really important mechanic for you getting to the inside. It allows you to either, kind of gouge the way of their straight punches, and if they are throwing hooks, you can get underneath them. And it's one which feels really rewarding to use, but it's also one which is very visually pleasing on the eyes. I thought at first it looked a bit clunky, but as I got used to it and you could see them weaving underneath the hooks and that, I'm very pleased with this mechanic. It works very well right now. I do worry about in the future, is it something which is maybe going to be spam heavy? Maybe they have to look at putting a bit more of a stamina tax on it. I'm not too sure. But as it is right now, I'm kind of happy with this gameplay mechanic. The other big changes they kind of made to the game were the instant replay sort of camera which they've added. For me personally, it's something I haven't seen on my own game. I don't know why. I've got all the settings turned on. I'm not sure if this is just a sort of player-to-player glitch where some people are getting it and some players aren't. I know it's only offline, so you have to play in the offline game modes and it should show up, but I haven't seen it myself personally. But from what I have seen online, it looks kind of like a Fight Night Champion sort of style replay system, something which the game definitely needed to be added. I think they could do with post-fight sort of replays as well, choosing from moments maybe like you see with FIFA, where as a goal maybe you could show certain moments where it's a big counter shot or a knockdown or a knockout, in a replay system after the fight, because I think it's something which has been missing. I think the instant replay is definitely a good thing to come to the game, something which is going to be more rewarding, because as it was before, you're getting people knocked down and you're not really being rewarded for it by seeing what you actually did to make it happen. So I'm happy with this. The other thing which was really good to come from this update was the damage buff. I don't think it's a perfect system as it is right now, but compared to what it used to be, the game's definitely gone in the right direction. As it is right now, I think they just increased damage a whole lot. In the patch notes, they talk about, changing the damage when, there's stamina loss and stuff like that. And as it feels in terms of when you're playing the game right now, it feels like if you're in a prolonged sort of encounter, eventually someone's going to drop it. Before it felt like everyone was a juggernaut, and there's still a sense of that, but people are going down now, which is more rewarding. And I think in a fight game you need finishes. I think that's what people play for. I think when you get two players of the same skill and they're very highly skilled, yeah, you're going to see decisions. But when it's a mismatch and you're still going to the scorecards all the time, it kind of tells you there's a problem. But now we are seeing more finishes, which I think is good. I would like to see some more changes to the damage though, and that's when we're going to come on to the negative things that they haven't changed or things which need to be added to the game to make it better. For me, I think Undisputed will eventually die if they don't add this feature. It's one I've been kind of nagging on about now for a while in a few of my past videos. And it's good to see that other content creators are finally starting to bring this one up, and that's vulnerability. It's all right me sort of nagging on about it, but how many subscribers have I got? I think I've got 89 subscribers, so it doesn't really mean shit. So we needed some of the big boys to step up to the plate, and they finally did it. I saw Marshall Mind's video. I don't know how long he's been going on about it, but his recent video on the current gameplay for Undisputed, he brought up the vulnerability system which needed to be added, and I was like, thank God someone else is mentioning this fucking thing, because I think without it the game's surely going to die. I think vulnerability was something which they added to the UFC games and kind of rejuvenated the whole sort of game in itself. And for me, it's something which is definitely needed in this game. I think adding a vulnerability system is not only going to make more finishes happen, but it's going to stop people from being so reckless when they're playing, whether it be doing silly shit all the time, or it's going to stop people from being so predictable as well. I think in terms of the UFC games, if someone gets predictable and throwing the same combination, 1-2 left body hook, I'm going to be able to time them and throw the uppercut up the middle while say throw that hook to the body. I'm going to get a big load of damage, and it's going to kind of change the fight. I could get a knockout, or it could swing the fight in my favor, and I think that's something which is a game has been dying for. As it is right now, you can kind of move into punches and stuff like that, and you're not being affected for it. It's something which needs to be added. It's been, I think if it comes to the game, there's going to be problems as well, but it's probably the biggest thing which needs to come, in my opinion. Another thing I'd like to see sort of added on is this critical zones. They talk about the critical zones. I think a lot of people are questioning, are they actually in the game? But in one of the most recent roundtables, the creator of the game actually said, hey, look, they are in the game. But I think the fact that people are questioning the fact that they're in the game, there needs to be more done about it. They need to be either made more common, or we need a UI feature which is going to highlight the fact that they're in play, whether that be the sort of body sort of model which we had before, which lights up when I damage someone's sort of side of the face or side of the body or middle of the body. I think this could be added for critical zones. So we know that the chin's going to be a critical zone. The temple's going to be a critical zone. The liver's going to be a critical zone. I would love to see a system in which it highlights when I kind of hit that sort of area and I've hurt my opponent, whether it just flashes up quickly or it kind of, blinkers, like to show that, to indicate that I've done something and I can do something about it. It's something which I think is going to make this game unique in terms of the critical zones. I think it's an important feature. I just think it needs to be developed upon, and I think right now it's kind of lacking. I think that, brought in with the vulnerability system as well could be game changing for this game. Another problem, it seems like I'm being a bit negative, but I feel like the game's been in a state now for a while where I lost a lot of confidence in it. This update definitely brought back a bit of that confidence for me in terms of the developers for the game and the game's future in itself. I think one of the biggest problems is punch accuracy. As it is right now, I understand they want a game which is very sim-like, and that's understandable, but they've gone with this style where punches are kind of whack in terms of, you got to look for a fighter with this great accuracy and all that, but it's a video game at the end of the day and it's supposed to be fun. I think as it is right now, we're seeing a lot of punches kind of just look sloppy, the way they're landing on people and stuff like that, and I think that's probably down to the physics system as well. But punches are missing when they shouldn't be. You can stand right in front of your opponent, throw a left hook to the body, and he'll hit nothing but air, and I could be standing pretty much chest to chest with him. And, it's one of those ones which makes the game kind of frustrating, but I'd say makes it look a bit sloppy to watch. And I think for this game to succeed, it's not only going to have to be a great game to play and be fun, it's going to have to be a game which is fun to watch. For me right now, the accuracy of punches is a problem. The one other main area of the game which I think is problematic is the movement. I think they've gone for a system which is so revolutionary, so out of the box to what we've seen before, and I kind of understand how, it's probably going to be difficult to change some of the things, but as it is right now, I don't think the movement is nowhere near responsive enough. I think the punches are a lot more responsive than the movement, and I think that causes problems. I think it's led to this sort of style where there's a jousting sort of match happening. Both fighters come in and then they're both out, and it's kind of like this weird thing. And it's not good to watch, and it's not what boxing is. And I just don't think it's a good representation for the game. And I think some of the problems causing this are the responsiveness of the movement. And I think another problem is the inside sort of fighting. As it is right now, you get into a certain sort of range, and if you want to pull out of it or move somewhere else, you feel like you're magnetized to the other player and you're being pulled together for this inside fighting system, which I kind of understand, but at the same time it's kind of feels odd when you're playing the game and you're trying to pull yourself out, but you're kind of stuck together. So that's something I'd like to be changed as well. I think those are my main sort of critiques when it comes to the gameplay. Like I'm very happy with what they've added in this latest patch, but there's still a hell of a lot of things which need to be worked on. Other than that, I would probably just say, the connection issues are still a thing. Probably more on a decent sort of level, where sometimes I've noticed, everything becomes a lot more unresponsive and punches aren't coming out at the same rate they were before. I've noticed players, they'll be fighting me in a game and then all of a sudden they just start spinning around me and the game disconnects. These are issues which I expected with a sort of indie company, which I guess you say Steel City Interactive Art. It's their first sort of game and it's their first sort of online project as well. So I expected these things. I think this is something that will eventually be fixed. But my main problems will be with the gameplay, and until the gameplay is in a state where it's ready for what it's supposed to be right now, I don't think we're going to be seeing a console release anytime soon. My main problem is that vulnerability. I think that's something that they're going to be forced into be put into the game. I think the way it is right now, it's kind of old school. It's kind of rock'em sock'em in terms of like until your health depletes to a certain level. I think the vulnerability system would change this massively. I think the game will die if they don't add it in, but I think it's something they're going to add in. The game's on sale right now. Would I recommend you buying it? Honestly, probably not. I probably wouldn't. I'd still say that in terms of this game and the playability and replayability sort of factors, I wouldn't say that it's there yet. Obviously, if you're looking to get the game for the cheapest point, yes, it's probably the right time to buy it at £19.99. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be buying it now, are you going to be playing it a hell of a lot? I'm not too sure. Let me know your sort of feelings in the comment section down below, guys. I think Undisputed is definitely going in the right direction, and this update has gone a big way in improving the game. But I'm still skeptical. I'm still a bit worried. It's a game I've got a lot of hopes for. Let me know your sort of feelings around the game, guys, in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be trying to be a bit more consistent on the channel, whether that be these sort of gaming videos or, sort of fight predictions in real life. That's something I'm hoping to do. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you soon. Take care. Until next time. Peace out.